Hello everyone and welcome to our Web3 startup pitch in March. Today we have 4 great startups that will pitch and 2 fantastic judges for the Q&A. Our today's startups are ANTOLAC, LUNIQUE, Simple Crypto and Particula. My colleague Melissa will introduce them later in more detail. Quickly to the ones watching us on YouTube, please leave a thumbs up, and in case you like these pitch events, and subscribe to our channel to not miss out our upcoming videos and live events. Our agenda. First, I will continue with an introduction about us, the Blockchain Founders Group. After that, the judges will introduce themselves, and then we will start with the startup pitches. Each startup has 7 minutes to pitch, followed by 4 minutes of Q&A. And finally, after the pitches, we will announce the top 2 teams of today's pitches based on the scores from the judges. I'm very excited to be your host today along with Melissa. My name is Jonah Hauch. I live in Lima, Peru, and I work in business development within the Blockchain Founders Group, which means that I help drive our growth and the growth of our startups. Melissa, please quickly introduce yourself too.
Sure thing. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa, and I'm the Marketing and Operations Manager at Blockchain Founders Group. So Jonah and I run the pitch events together, and we're really excited to have everybody spend the next hour with us as we hear from the 4 amazing startups that we have lined up for you today.
Great. Thanks Melissa. Thanks. In case you're an investor interested in connecting with us, or specifically with one of the startups pitching today, or in case you're interested to start your own startup in the Web3 space, please feel free to reach out to me or Melissa, write us an email, connect on LinkedIn. You can find us there by our names, or start by visiting our website. About the Blockchain Founders Group, we're a venture capital firm and company builder. And we're based in Germany and Liechtenstein. We do mainly 2 things. Within our Web3 incubation program, BFG Superstars, we help our participants to accelerate the launching phase so they will have a ready product within 12 weeks. And we invest up to 60,000 euros in selected startups from our cohorts. So far, we have funded 15 exceptional startups within our program. For direct investments in startups, we work close together with the Blockchain Founders Capital. They invest in early stage Web3 startups, usually with ticket sizes between 200 to 500,000 euros. Looking on this overview of a selection of some startups that we've invested in, we have, for example, Wenli, who is quite famous. They're doing wallet services and building NFT marketplaces. There's SignaX, they're doing metaverse asset creation and curation. There's Ecolens, they prepared so far over 3,000 talents for the Web3 space, filling the needed gap of talent and connecting them to employers. Let's continue with introducing the BFG team. The Blockchain Founders Group has been initiated by 4 angel investors with deep blockchain and entrepreneurial knowledge, who form now our board of directors. We have Sarah Gottwald, our managing director and one of the judges today. She will introduce herself in a moment. With Martina Dünser and Thomas Dünser, we got the law and regulatory part covered. Martina has a post-degree in intellectual property law and worked as an industrial patent attorney. And Thomas is the director of the Office for Finance Market Innovation of the Principality of Liechtenstein, played a key role regarding the Liechtenstein Blockchain Act, and is one of the international thought leaders in the regulation of the token economy. Then we have Ulrich Spindler. He is a very successful serial entrepreneur who has founded and sold a big online pharmacy. He perfectly combines deep technical expertise with entrepreneurial focus. And last but not least, we have Professor Dr. Philipp Sandner, who founded the Frankfurt School Blockchain Center, was ranked as one of the top 30 economists by the FAZ, which is a famous German newspaper. And yeah, as a little fun fact, he got called the crypto pope in the German media once. A big shout out to our core team. We have Max, who is the head of corporate development, John and Albert, who are the program managers of our incubator, the BFG Superstars Program. We have Melissa, she already introduced herself. Elias is our research associate and is creating amazing content. And there's me, I also introduced myself already. Yeah, great to have you here today, Sarah and Gerald. Please also quickly introduce yourself. Gerald, please start.
Well, ladies first, I think, no?
As you like.
Yes, Sarah, please.
Did I start? Okay, thank you so much. So thank you, Jona and Melissa, for the introduction already. As Jona already said, I'm the managing director of Blockchain Founders Group, so super happy to be here today. And before I started working for Blockchain Founders Group, I was working for BMW for approximately 9 years, mainly in finance, corporations, and M&A. Afterwards, I was working with a venture capital company focusing on the Web3 space. And yeah, well, I started reading and learning about blockchain and Bitcoin back in 2017, but my professional track record or my professional career started only 1 year ago in the blockchain space. Yeah, thank you. So please, Gerald.
Right. Thanks. Yeah, so I've been 25 years an entrepreneur, started a business end of the 90s, a SaaS business, sold it to Capgemini, and then built a B2C business, about 350 employees, 100 million revenue, sold it to Amazon in 2011, then built a social selling business with about 3,500 salespeople, sold this in 2019 to an Austrian brewery company, and have been investing and advising companies since 2019 in Web3 and blockchain. About 2.5 years ago, we started the Barcelona Blockchain Network, which is a venture launchpad incubator for Web3 project. And from there, actually, we also started a company called Ethermail, which is a Web3 email solution, allowing end-to-end encrypted communication, and also a B2C channel where companies can communicate with their token NFT holders. Started in August last year, about 1 million users, 40 people now, and just got 7 million funding. And we also invest in companies and also actually give grants to companies in the Web3 space, and also actually support with marketing services to get users for Web3. That's it.
Thanks for your introductions. Also looking forward to the Q&A session later. Now I would like to hand over to Melissa, who will introduce the startups.
Thanks, Jona. So now we want to introduce each of the startups that we have here today. So in this pitching order, we first have Team Simple Crypto, presented by Yannick. Simple Crypto is an all-in-one app for crypto education and rewards. So then next we have Team ANTOLAC, presented by Khan. This startup aims to democratize the real estate market by offering tokenized shares of properties. And third, we have Particula, presented by Wolfram, Nadine, and Tim. Particula calls themselves the Moody's for ESG tokens, and they've built the first rating and analysis platform for digitized sustainable assets for investors and companies. And our fourth startup for today will be LUNIQUE, presented by Annie. LUNIQUE aims to provide a personalized shopping experience in the realms of the metaverse. So each of these teams will be given 7 minutes to pitch and will immediately face 4 minutes of question and answer with our 2 judges today, Sarah and Gerald. At the end of the pitch event, we will announce the top 2 startups for this pitch event based on the judges' scoring using our rubric, which I will now go through. So for the judging rubric, each startup will be evaluated on each of these criteria. So first would be the project's market potential. The startup will be judged on whether they have identified a genuine area of interest in the Web3 space and whether their proposed project is effective in addressing it. Next, we've got technical feasibility. So the startup will be judged on how well it integrates blockchain technology into its project and whether this technology is a relatively novel application. Third, we're looking at the scalability of their business models. The startup will be judged on how scalable their business model and growth plans are from not just a regional level, but also on a global level. And lastly, we're looking at the strength of the founding teams. So the judges will be evaluating the team with their educational background and past experiences. Are they well equipped and confident to deliver the project? So without further ado, let's kickstart the pitching and welcome Team Simple Crypto and Yannick.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Melissa. Let me just share my screen. So, can you see it, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, perfectly. Yeah, thanks a lot for organizing this event and letting us showcase our startup, which is called App Learning, and our product called Simple Crypto, which simplifies onboarding with rewards-based education. And the company behind it is called App Learning. It was founded by Julian Baumann and me a couple of months ago. Julian is a skilled app developer, and I'm a long-term Bitcoin advocate. I published several papers about Bitcoin technology, and we both are passionate about learning apps. And we saw this issue of Bitcoin education, so we sat together and founded App Learning to create a scalable approach to educate people about Bitcoin. And what we were facing a lot of times is that the access to Bitcoin know-how currently is insufficient. So, for example, we've been to El Salvador a couple of months ago, and what all the stakeholders are telling us is that the people are really lacking hands-on training. So we have a novel technology here, which is made for a couple of billion, maybe billions of people, but existing efforts are not scalable. But yet we have education, which is key for adoption. So what we need are more digitized methods. Of course, people can do self-study, but it needs a lot of dedication. So we are addressing this issue and creating a scalable resource for educating people about this technology. With our app, Simple Crypto, one can discover the world of Bitcoin and earn rewards for it with our all-in-one solution. And our approach, our app learning approach, utilizes micropayment rewards to effectively onboard new users. And we do so by using bite-sized knowledge, so really short bites to educate people about the subject, issuing a personalized certificate, offering them educational activities such as short questions and quizzes, and all combining it to a learn-to-earn model. So people get some Satoshis for learning about this technology, which is a fraction of a Bitcoin. So we have like a holistic approach of educating people about this novel subject. So that's kind of a one app solution for onboarding people or newbies to the space. So far, our product has gained a lot of traction. We have a rating of 4.8 stars on the App Store, so it's available for iOS and Android. We have over 1,000 reviews combined on both app stores, more than 65,000 downloads, and the app is available in 176 countries. And the content is offered in multiple languages such as German, English, and Spanish language so far. As you can see, our users are really new to the space, and we're helping them dig deep into the subject by offering them some rewards and also some bites of knowledge which they can easily consume. So you can check out those reviews as you can see what our users are craving for. And it's not a surprise because if you look at the market currently, then people have really like a burden when it comes to relevant education. I guess I don't have to tell you guys how the compound annual growth rate of new market entrants is, but most people are really craving for investment relevant education, and that's where we come in and help people onboard to this technology. If you look at other apps which are currently out there or other programs to educate people about Bitcoin, then you can have really time consuming or boring courses where people have to dedicate hours to learn about it or have to go to intense KYC processes, and it really creates a burden for people to sign up to these services or educate them about how to use the technology and apply them. So our app is really consumable in a short time frame, and it's also motivating because one actually gets real money, which is Bitcoin, and can use it for other services as well. And that's what we are telling them how to use it also. So what we're currently planning is to build a Lightning Hub. So the rewards people can use can be used at our emerging platform. So we onboard them to the emerging world of microtransactions, which this technology offers. And we combine the educational part with the applied technology part. So it's kind of applied education. We have valuable resources where we direct our users to. We use a built-in Lightning wallet, so they can spend the sats they earned without any friction and leverage new services such as VPN, for example, which are limited for just a short time frame. So they can spend at our integrated services and partners. And for that, they also earn some rewards, which incentivize them even more to use these novel services. We do so by monetizing also the freemium or the free users and the subscription-based users. So we have two income streams, how to monetize them. As I said, the freemium are for all the users which get onboarded easily and can use it for free. They have some basic content, they have low value rewards. So we're talking about a fraction of a dollar cent here, and it gets financed by an ad-based approach, but also they can purchase specific content inside the app. And then we have a subscription model we're currently rolling out. So we're using AI technology to create customized content, have boosted rewards, an ad-free experience, and of course, an unlimited usage priced at $4 a month. On our roadmap, we're currently implementing a Learn More section that just rolled out some days ago, where we offer people some more chapters to dig into the subject. And as I already stated, we're building out our Lightning wallet. So we have a feed integration to onboard several external sources where people can spend on, read about certain materials and get rewarded for it. And then we integrate our Lightning wallet and have our app service directory where we can forward our users to even more services or to the ongoing or emerging ecosystem. And so we are really having like a holistic experience for all our users who get onboarded to Bitcoin, and they see what to do with it, how it works, and why it's useful. And we can use novel technologies such as AI to even customize their experiences. So if you know someone who hasn't started the Bitcoin journey yet, then forward them to Simple Crypto. I hope it was insightful to you, and I'm curious about your questions. Thanks so much for your attention today.
Thanks for this, Yannick. So now I'll bring on the judges for your Q&A.
Okay. I don't know, you want to start, Sarah, or shall I?
As you like, please feel free.
So, I mean, I always start as where the money is made and how big this can be. I understand that, I mean, I know about Coinbase and all the other people, I mean, Decrypt is doing it. So, I mean, in every market is always, education is a very important one. So it seems that potentially it's a relatively limited potential or market potential with regards to how big it can be. And big, it means to me 50, 100, 200, 300 million euros. I'm not speaking about 1 million or 2 million, basically. So my question is, are there any other revenue streams that you're considering in order to really make it big and really relevant? Or is this a really focused on education driven business model, which then lives on application installs and premium users buying €4 per month?
Mm-hmm. As I stated, we have like additional content which users can buy, but apart from the educational part, we also forward our users to external services. And what we're creating is really like the app UI layer for all these complicated services which most people are not able to use so far. So we are abstracting it from them and charging a bit for that service. And that's what we do with our built-in Lightning integration, for example. And that's for the freemium and the subscription-based users, but also we monetize premium users through ads. And the rewards, as I said, are just like, really tiny. It's completely novel technology, so it hasn't been possible to give users a friction of $0.01, for example, before. And for the subscription users, they can even buy like boosted rewards, for example. So the whole experience is a bit enhanced for them, let's say.
You guys give points, for example. But so in concrete, in 5 years' time, how big is the business? How much revenues is it doing, and how much EBITDA is it doing potentially?
Currently, we're in the revenue exploration phase. So as I said, we're implementing our subscription model right now. So far, we have gained a lot of traction, and we were able to monetize freemium users. But as we're building out our platform, more focus on growth right now, we can switch to the subscription-based service and monetize a fraction of the users to a subscription-based model, and just like focusing on the growth of the market to monetize it in the long term.
Okay, so
Does it answer your question, or should I be more specific? Okay.
No, because you basically said you don't know, and I understand that. But at least I would really recommend to have a plan and at least have an assumption of how big this can be in the next 5 years, just for you also, for investors. Because you see, if you want to invest 50,000 euros into a business, we want to understand where is it in 5 years. And of course, there's always the vision of that somebody buys you, and that's great. But then the other question is, why would they buy you? Either number of users or revenues or EBIT, something like this. Okay,
we're basically attention derivative of the Bitcoin market itself. So of course, we are highly dependent on the whole development of the Bitcoin ecosystem. So we are riding along this wave.
Thanks
So
for that, Sarah, please.
Yeah,
please go ahead.
Thank you. I have some similar questions or going in the same direction. So the first is, why are you only focused on Bitcoin? I think, or I know that Bitcoin is super complex on itself, but nevertheless, there would be a lot more potential if you also focus on, because education is key and it's not only about Bitcoin, there's so much more to learn. So this is the one question. And the other question, do you know how long users on average engage on your app? And and I would also like to know, how many subscriptions you do have at the moment?
As I said, we're just rolling out our subscription-based service, so it's not live yet. So we mainly have the freemium users so far. What I can say is that we have users completing the course, and then we did not have such a high user retention, but we were focusing on that. So we rolled out the Learn More section where people can spend some more time on the app, and as well as we rolled out the Learn to Earn feature, we saw that the user retention was really increased, it increased basically a lot. So the people really want to go through all the courses, all the materials, and completing all the activities that are available inside the app. So I don't have a specific percentage term because it's really dependent on where the user is coming from and so on. But in general, we saw the development that since we rolled out these new novel features, we have at least 3 times higher retention rate of the users.
Okay, and why only Bitcoin?
We have the possibility to roll out a white label solution as well. So you can see our app as a framework, and it's currently filled with Bitcoin content. But we could roll out, for example, a separate version which is focused on Ethereum or Web3 topics as well. But it's easier for newbies to focus solely on one subject if it's complex enough, and not to overload them with knowledge and confuse them. So we have really a sound money technology narrative if you go through the whole app, and it's just a more holistic experience then.
I understand that from your perspective as a team, because you need to get all the content together. But on the other hand, you're losing a lot of people who, for example, are mainly interested in Ethereum and smart contracts and things. So just
definitely, we're not addressing them. That's true.
Okay.
So if I can say a bit more about our users, so most users came from the US, then from Germany, but also from developing countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Pakistan, India, and so on. And they really have a need to relevant Bitcoin education because as we all were witnessing, all the crises were going on, Bitcoin is kind of an hedge or an escape for people. And we are building this educational resource so they know how to use it. And so we're not, talking about smart contracts here because it's not suitable in the format how we use it with the swipes and telling them how to apply the technology with available wallets, for example. So it's also dependent on how the current market is evolved. And I would say that Bitcoin right now is more user-friendly to use for people.
Thanks very much for that, Gerald. We don't have any more time for questions.
How did you get the 60,000? How did you get the 60,000 users?
Our main advertising channel or customer acquisition channel was through Google Ads.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks so much for that, everybody. We have run out of time for Simple Crypto, so we'll be moving on to the next startup now. So we'll welcome Khan, who will be pitching his project ANTOLAC.
All right, hello. Thanks for the invitation. Pleasure to be here. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you see it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
All right, so as you can see, we are called ANTOLAC, and we are a Swiss-based startup that enables everybody to become a landlord by giving them the chance to invest in real estate. And real estate, in our opinion, is the safest asset class. And at the moment, it's closed for a lot of people. Not everybody can invest in it. And this is because of the big challenges in the market right now. The biggest here is the illiquidity. So traditionally, real estate is a illiquid asset class. It ties up a lot of capital for a pretty long time. It also takes a lot of effort and it's pretty complex. You have to get in touch with real estate agents, notaries, public authorities, and banks, which all extend the process of buying a property, make it more complex, and ask for high fees. So basically, the barriers are too high for the majority of small private and retail investors to enter this big market. At the moment, of course, you have the possibility to enter the market. Either you go by a real estate fund, where you don't have individual selection, your shares are not available for a loan, you have no determination rights, and on top of that, you have to pay management fees at the fund. You can, of course, also do a direct property investment, but you will need more capital. Your risk will be not diversified, except you have even more capital to spend on. The management is not adopted, it's done by you, and it's not a liquid asset. So we eliminated these cons from both sides and put together the pros to create a new financial product. And this financial product is a security token backed by real estate. So you can think of it like shares of a publicly traded company. Everybody can invest in these shares starting from 1 Swiss francs on. And you have some rights regarding these shares which are transparently communicated to you. How we do that is with our platform architecture. So it's based on 3 main pillars. First, we have the crowdfunding marketplace, where we list our properties on our platform and offer it to investors for the first time, so they can take part in this crowdfunding, invest their money, and we will take the money collectively and buy the property that we offered, tokenize it, and distribute the shares. These tokens what on our platform, but of course they are not exclusive to us. You can take it to other platforms, trade it there, or do whatever you want. The governance is done by you. But you can also trade on our platform. It's a P2P marketplace where you can just buy and sell your shares. The management is adopted by us, so you don't need any experience in facility management or stuff like that. You can just let it for us. But you can take part in the governance and decision making with your co-owners in smaller things which are done by pools on our platform. The fourth external pillar is the third-party trading platform. These are mostly, they have more liquidity than on-site platforms, on-site trading platforms. So you can go there, trade your assets 24/7. And all this is based on a public blockchain. In our case, it's the Stellar network that governs all of your tokens. To give you a quick market insight from a survey that's been done in Germany for why real estate is essential for wealth creation and how the investment readiness right now is. So the survey says that 70% of the people that were asked said that they would invest in real estate if investments from low amounts were possible, which is not actually the case right now. And also if investment barriers were lower. So procedures were more transparent, and you don't need that much of experience in the real estate market to enter it. And only 5.5% think that real estate is not a safe asset class to invest in. And also for the future of security tokens, which will be the financial product that we are offering, A study here predicts that 10% of the global GDP will be available as tokenized shares by 2027. And the adoption of institutional investors and big companies is also coming here. I think it was in January at the World Economic Forum, where the CEO of BlackRock said that the future of the financial market will be the tokenization of securities. So pretty sure adoption is coming here fast. To our current state of the product, we completed the MVP and started to develop the full product. This may take us 5 to 8 weeks, and then we'll have a fully functioning tokenization platform with the integrated tokenization engine running on the Stellar network. This would be the first part of our first stage, finishing the platform. Second would be completing the proof concept. We already started by that. Will be a small physical property that we are going to tokenize and offer. Stage 2 would be, we want to expand into the DACH region. So right now we'll do it in Switzerland for the proof concept, but go to Germany and Austria pretty fast for the bigger markets there. Stage 3 is becoming the key platform to tokenize properties. It's not only for retail investors to invest small amounts on, but also for institutional investors, so they can keep their properties in liquid assets. And stage 4 would be expanding to other physical assets, like solar panels, vineyards, or other infrastructure projects that are not available for the majority of investors right now, but are pretty long-term and safe investment. For this, especially for the second stage, we are right now in the fundraising of €500,000. Most of them will go for the legal framework and building the financial product correctly, so we can offer it in Switzerland and in the DACH region. And yeah, as you can see, the other costs are in product development and marketing. This is our team, me and my co-founder Volodymyr, and we already have a CFO and some board members all working on the project, but only me and the co-founder are working full-time right now. Yeah, if you're interested, I would love to get in touch with you, maybe later, maybe somewhere else. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that. We'll bring on the judges now for your Q&A.
Right, thank you. So you want to start this time?
Yes, sure, I can do. So I have 2 questions. The first is, do you already have some buildings in the pipeline to be tokenized? I think this is an easy one. And the second question is, like you said at the beginning, that real estate is like the safest as one of, I'm not sure whether you said the safest or one of the safest. So currently interest rates are rising, and if interest rates are rising, people have a lot less money to spend. So I'm not sure about that sentences from my side, from my point of view. So maybe you can kind of convince me a little more on that, because to be honest, I don't agree on that sentences.
Okay, yeah. So first, the first question, we have some properties in the pipeline. For the proof of concept, we are not going to use a property. It will be the nearest thing we could find to a property, a parking space, just because of the small investment amount that we have to fund, approximately 30,000. But we already have talked with some real estate agents and also private investors that would be ready to offer their property on our platform. Firstly, because we don't take fees from them, and promise to finance it faster than in the usual market, so sell it faster for them than they could do it right now. And the other question regarding the safeness of real estate, I think it might not be the safest, but one of the safest, especially in times like we have now. Could be pretty volatile to invest maybe in other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum, but also in stocks. But real estate, maybe like gold, has historically been one of the safest and long-term safe assets where you can store your money and are not that volatile. So I would consider it one of the safest asset classes. Yeah, one of the biggest markets also.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you're right. People always need to live somewhere, but the market is not liquid. And from my point of view, that's the reason why it's a lot slower. But if interest rates are high and maybe even rising further, from my point of view, prices start falling, at least for the next months, maybe in the next years. But yeah,
could be better for us to buy more properties than if they fall.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, just 2 or 3 questions. So I think market is, I mean, real estate is the example always of tokenization, right? Because it just makes so much sense. And I think it's clear that this is going to happen. It's just a question of if, it's a question of when. I'm more concerned here on let's say, competition, because we have looked at several of these players already. And at the moment, it's startups basically who are doing this. The question, of course, is what happens when the big guys come in, the real big real estate groups. Because at one stage, of course, they will also go in there, and then it's going to start about distribution. Where do you sell the token to? And then you start with again, fund structure or whatever you would call it, because then you go to banks and they sell to retail investors and so on. So how do you see this evolving in this space? So where do you see yourself in 2 or 3 years or 4 years in this probably relatively fast changing landscape, where a lot of big players are entering into this market? And what makes you difference compared to these big guys who probably have a lot of funding and money available? And
I think I see us as one company that helps these big institutional investors or companies to enter this market. So we will try to have it ready when the big players enter the market, so they can use our infrastructure to tokenize their assets right now, their properties that they have in the company but are illiquid. So we already have the infrastructure for that to do it for them, but also for the small investors, for private retail investors. So we'll probably do it for both. And yeah, there are other startups, companies tried that or still trying it. There are also a lot of companies that failed trying it.
And why do you think?
Mostly because they were too early and built the wrong financial product on maybe also the wrong blockchain. So the perfect example here is Token. It's from this region, it's from Liechtenstein, Switzerland. And I think they started 2018. They tokenized the property, but they tokenized it in form of subordinated bonds. And they built it on a private blockchain running on Ethereum. So they were not liquid assets. It was pretty interesting why they did it. But in the end, they failed. So I think they are now out of the game, not tokenizing anymore. But we could get the co-founder of Token for us as an advisor. So he also shows us what we should do and what we shouldn't do while building this up, to not make the same mistakes he made already with Token.
And why did you choose Stellar actually, and not Ethereum or Polygon or something? Why Stellar?
Mainly because of the low transaction costs and because of the lesser volatility than Ethereum has. So it's not that speculative to invest in XLM. It's also volatile, but not as Ethereum. And even if the market cap rises, the transaction fees will stay very, very low. So we can distribute low amounts of rental income weekly. And it's a non-profit organization. It exists, I think, longer than Ethereum. It's pretty stable network architecture to build on. Yeah.
Thanks very much for this. I'm going to have to jump in now and just say that we've reached time for Team ANTOLAC. So you can leave comments and feedback in your judges' score sheet, and we'll pass them on to him. In the meantime, I'm going to bring on the next startup, Particula, who will be presented by Tim and Wolfram.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. So, hi everybody, my name is Tim and I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Particula. And with Particula, we are building the first data platform and comparison tool in the intersection of sustainability and Web3. The first market we are going to tackle is actually one of the biggest growth markets within the next years and decades. It is the so-called voluntary carbon market. And the basic idea behind this market is to finance nature protection projects by the issuance of so-called CO2 certificates. And those certificates are the monetary equivalent of the CO2 captured or absorbed by the project. And while we are seeing more and more companies moving toward net zero targets based on the regulatory pressure, we will see that this market alone will grow by the factor of 15 within the next 7 years. And at the same time, the level of digitization in this market has to increase drastically because there are a lot of shortcomings and flaws at its current state. And it can be said that actually the voluntary carbon market is broken, and it faces a number of challenges that limits its effectiveness in fighting climate change. So when we look at the market, we can see a lack of transparency and liquidity based on the fact that nearly 100% of all trades are over the counter. And we have lots of intermediaries like traders or brokers in the process. And in 2021 alone, 650 million euros went into the pocket of those intermediaries. And at the same time, based on the low level of digitization, we have poor data quality and ongoing scams. So when we do not improve this market, people will lose completely faith in it within the next years. This is the spot where regenerative finance come into play. ReFi is a movement in the Web3 sector which aims to make economics more integrative and sustainable. And by using blockchain as a transparent ledger, we are currently seeing over 200 projects who create a liquid, transparent, and easy accessible market everybody's dreaming of. So the supply side is there, but when we look at the demand side, we quickly realized that actually nobody is buying those digitized solutions. And we were asking ourselves, why is it that way? So we went out and spoke to over 200 industry experts and asked them, why aren't you taking advantage of this? And the three main reasons were always the same. It was all about regulatory uncertainty. So they didn't know how to handle, for instance, those digitized solutions in their balance sheet or in their tax declaration. It was all about security concerns, especially in times from FTX. And last but not least, nearly every ESG department is newly formed. And they have a lot of challenges within the next years based on the regulatory pressure. So they simply do not have the time and resources to conduct their own research and are not able to compare those digitized solutions to find the best one for themselves. And that is really a problem because in this month, over 5,000 companies committed themselves to get to zero, and we need those digitized solutions to do so. This is why we came up with Particula. Particula is the first analysis and comparison platform that rates those digitized solutions based on their quality. And while doing so, we are especially focusing on regulatory, security, and compliance aspects to close the information gap, which was described by the various stakeholders. Our aim is to put the technology behind the curtain and to make the transition for those classical players as easy as possible. And that's the reason why we built our platform like a classical ESG database. So they can come easily on, search and filter for projects based on their preferences and needs, and in the second step, compare them side by side. Furthermore, we support them in the buying process, and after they finish the buying process, they can come back and use our various analyze tools, like inventory management, portfolio management, and also APIs to track their regulatory reports, which they will need within the next few years. And to make the comparison as easy as possible, we provide quality ratings and in-depth reports. When we look at the current market and our competitor landscape, our standalone features are, of course, the number of integrated projects, the depth of our analysis, and that we are focusing not only on the factors which are important for the head of ESG, but also for the CFO who finalizes the buying process. But the voluntary carbon market is just the beginning. So within the next few years, we will see more and more money flow into sustainable assets, which are built on the blockchain to increase their transparency and liquidity. So we are pretty convinced that within the next few years, investors will need reliable data for those assets to make effective and efficient investment decisions. So we are pretty convinced that the intersection of sustainability and Web3 is one of the biggest market opportunities. And we are going to tackle this opportunity with our diverse team. So besides me, there's Wolfram and there's Nadine. And Wolfram has an extensive background in the software industry. So he will ensure that our database not only uses the latest technology, but also is built by industry best practices. While Nadine is an expert for business development and sustainability. So she will ensure that we will meet all our stakeholder needs. And last but not least, I've got a background in finance and crypto regulation. So I will ensure the quality and depth of our ratings and reports. In summary, we are making investing in the intersection of sustainability and Web3 more understandable, easier, and more transparent. We are very happy to be at the forefront of this new movement and would like to invite you to be part of our mission. So join our waiting list and be one of the first to access our platform. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm really looking forward to your questions.
Thanks very much for that, Tim and Wolfram. I'll bring the judges up for your Q&A now.
Cool. Shall I start this time, Sarah?
Yes, for sure.
Cool. So I think very obvious use case, we've looked at some of these plays already. Would you say from a positioning standpoint, Senken is the one closest to what you guys are doing in Berlin?
Senken is actually a marketplace, and they are integrated projects on a technical way and do not provide that deep information about it. So we're not aiming to be a marketplace because it's a hurdle to scale. The technical integration of various providers on various chains take a long time. And of course, not everybody is willing to onboard on marketplaces. So currently, also to be slim and slow in regard to regulation here in Germany, we are working with a referral system. So we refer to the website of the token issuer, and this ensures that we will not fall under something like financial advice here in Germany, or we would need a license from the BaFin to do so.
Okay, but I mean, for me as a customer, probably it's much easier if I can select from different projects and bundle it basically into one, right? So, but I mean, it's just about, I understand why you're doing it, but long-term convenience with regards to the end user or the company might be a different one, and the marketplace might more sense. I think they just got also 5 or 6 or 7 million funding, so I would probably look out for these guys. And then I think the other thing, which is a big concern in this one, of course, the one is bringing people together and giving access, but the other very big problem is actually rating and reliability of those projects. And there was just this big scandal, as we all know, about the people who had scammed it and so on. So how do you, I mean, is that even on the horizon of how you can, I mean, because you probably can't even judge it, right? But then the question is, where is the value? Are you just a listing? Or what is the additional value? Is it, okay, I have everybody on this page, okay, it's great, but then the real interesting thing is what you said, is okay, am I secure that this is a real project? How can I get easy access to it? Is it compliant with regulatory affairs? So if you can't solve this, then you don't really solve the problem, right? I don't know if you're doing it.
Yeah, we're actually building ratings. So we're not aiming to only list those projects, but currently in a phase where firsthand, it's a multi-phase project, unfortunately, because we're on the greenfield. So there are no standardization, for instance, to describe what is a tokenized credit and what is a crypto native credit. It's totally different. And to compare apples with apples, we have to define at the first hand what it is. And in the next step, we are creating a framework for the evaluation of those tokens. And it will be pretty similar to the rating of a green bond, actually. So we spoke to the biggest 20 ESG databases, asked how they work, and also banks, and asked them how they would tackle the problem. And one of the main problems is that the data quality and availability is pretty poor. So we have to work with something like transparency scores also to include the information which are not available also in the rating. And green bonds actually also work that way, at least in the right direction with those transparency scores. So the value add should definitely be to create those ratings. And of course, we are speaking to customers, and this fits also within the first question, because multiple marketplaces only provide something like a own wallet structure. So companies are looking not for this. They don't want to set up something MetaMask or use a Gnosis safe. They want to have at least an API to their internal accounting and invoice, or they want somebody who holds the token in custody. And of course, this is an opportunity, but then you're going into the marketplace field, and of course, you are highly regulated. So I guess our future picture is to be something like Sustainalytics, MSCI. They aren't a marketplace at all. They only provide information which investors need to allocate capital.
So it's more a subscription marketplace potentially. So you're not taking necessarily a cut of whatever is bought, but you say pay whatever X per month, and then that's it.
Yeah, it's a multi-sided platform. So at the one hand side, we have the customers, which could be banks, asset managers, and so on and so forth. This side will actually work like a classical ESG database, where you have a subscription-based model, and in the long run, every big database works with modularization, so they exclude various services. But on the other side, we positioned ourselves as an expert and also built an expert network with tax advisors, lawyers, smart contract auditors to help to build the data reliability we need. So we are also working with the token providers, something like commission fees with our network to recommend them. And of course, we are also taking listing fees for those tokens. And in the classical market, it's actually that way that the companies are or they have to buy the ratings. So they are paying for ratings. But I guess this is also a conflict of interest or potential conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much for this. Sarah, do you have a question? If not, we will move on to the next startup.
Yeah, so I also wanted to understand the due diligence process a little better. Maybe one quick question in addition. So the carbon market is one of the most popular examples at the moment, but I think there are like a lot more areas in the refi space. Can you maybe name some more, and what is like the second biggest that is now kind of coming up?
I guess the second biggest, which we are going to tackle, is the market for renewable energy certificates, because it has actually the same shortcomings or nearly the same as the voluntary carbon market. But of course, there are some other fields where we're going to be active. I guess one of the biggest behind renewable energy is project financing. So we are talking to various providers, and also Neosphere, the venture arm of the Commerzbank, or yesterday or 2 days ago launched such a place where you can do project financing, and there were various providers who are using blockchain as an infrastructure. So this will be a huge market also in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. We'll invite Annie on now to present her startup LUNIQUE, which is the final startup of this month's pitch event edition.
Hi, good afternoon from London. I'll just share my screen and put on presentation mode and just double checking, can everyone see my screen okay?
Yeah, looks good.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for having me, and also the opportunity to pitch in this event. So LUNIQUE, what we are building is the future of luxury e-commerce. When you go into a luxury store, you get that personalized and customized, really friendly experience. But the luxury e-commerce landscape has changed very little over the last 20 years. Just to give you a kind of a customer journey on what it looks like, it looks something like this. It's very 2D, it's flat, it's overwhelming with number of choices, doesn't understand customers' preference for that white shirt. Is it a white business shirt or is it a white linen shirt? So this is the current customer experience. And what LUNIQUE is building looks something like this. It is 3D, it is immersive. You can walk around, see the products in 360 degrees. You can try on the different products on a real representation of your avatar. So rather than putting things in the checkout cart, you're able to actually visualize what the different products that you want to purchase look like on you. And in one platform, you can check out both the physical goods as well as the digital wearable or the NFT. So LUNIQUE is building the future of luxury e-commerce infrastructure. In terms of our business model, how do we actually make money? First, we are a marketplace. We onboard brands. Brands pay us a product onboarding fee, and then we get a sales commission on every single sale that goes through our platform, both of the physical as well as the digital wearable. Over the next 5 years, we have mapped out 9 different revenue streams, but the main particular ones are white labeling our retail technology to other brands, as well as partnership on a revenue share basis with influencers within our shopping destination. Where we are up to date is we have bootstrapped, we have created a demo store that is live. We have about 50 people that have walked around, given us their feedback, and really testing out the end-to-end journey to get an understanding of the product market fit. And right now we are raising money to build out the infrastructure, but also we can make revenue from day one. And how we make revenue from day one is to go out to the market with concept stores. We have a partnership with a international premium streetwear retailer, and we can start really enhancing the customer experience to what they are currently working with on the e-commerce store. So what we look like over the next 3 years is, first year, we will be focused on concept store, selling premium streetwear as well as sneakers to the customers with our retailer whilst we are building our back-end infrastructure. By year 2, our goal is to onboard 25 brands, as well as over 200 designs in our marketplace. And by year 3 is where we can really activate the other revenue streams, really enhancing the customer experience within the LUNIQUE shopping destination, such as metaverse fashion shows, as well as product launches in our metaverse. The market, so the global personal goods market, only the physical products, is $447 billion according to PwC. Digital wearable, there are different reports, but on average by 2030 it will reach $67 billion. The luxury goods consumption are responsible mainly by the Chinese consumers. So our Chinese consumers are responsible for $111 billion. And our core target market are the Gen Zs, the affluent Gen Zs, who also are e-gamers, because they already understand the metaverse world and they are already purchasing the digital wearables as well as the digital assets. So that gives us a $2.7 billion obtainable market. Where we are is an intersection between Web 2 and Web 3. So we are serving the luxury consumers in the Web 2 world with Web 3 economics. In Web 2, our direct competitors are multi-brand marketplaces, as well as shopping destinations such as Harrods also have e-commerce stores, as well as personal shoppers that really provide the luxury and personalized shopping experience. On the other side is our Web3 metaverse, as well as tool enablers that providing a service to brands. So we are sitting in the middle, and it's we are doing something extremely different where we serve the Web 2 as well as the Web 3 customers. The team to deliver the vision is myself, who has a Chinese, helping brands to bridge over to the Chinese consumer market. Alan, who is our metaverse officer and has been in the design industry for the last 20 years. Praveen, who is also on this call, he has served fintech companies over the last 20 years in building their blockchain as well as Web 2 infrastructure. Alongside us are our advisors who has been in the luxury space. Ojlog is one of the founder of the Moda Apprendi, who is one of the first to market when luxury e-commerce came into play about in the 2000s. So, and Paula as well, who has worked with Bulgari and JW Anderson. We are raising our pre-seed round, and we are raising £350,000 on a rolling close basis. And that's really to go into our tech infrastructure as well as marketing and our operations cost. So happy to answer any questions, and hope you will come shopping with us.
Thanks very much for that, Annie. I'll bring on the judges now for your Q&A.
Sorry,
Yeah. Okay, I can. Yeah, thank you for your presentation. So first of all, I think the metaverse still has a little problem regarding of users. So they are growing, but maybe not that fast as it was expected at the beginning. So is your like concept store or the fashion store, is everything already available? And if yes, so how many people already participate or visit your store there?
We are currently building our concept store, and it will be launched in mid-April. So we are really focusing now, testing the hypothesis with a real retailer on board, as well as marketing to consumers and having a commerce capability for the consumers to actually purchase.
Okay, how do you get in contact with those brands? Because you said you will onboard 25 within the next 1 year, I guess, if I remember it right.
Yeah, the second year, our goal is to onboard 25 brands. So my personal network, as well as we are, we are constantly involved in conferences, as well as roundtable talks, in helping luxury brands at the moment that are scratching their head in how to enter into the metaverse play, and really building out a very commercialized and sustainable business within their luxury groups.
Okay, thank you. And maybe one quick little general question. What is your biggest challenge at the moment, and maybe for the next 12 months?
Yeah, I think our biggest challenge at the moment is speaking to the right people that really understand the metaverse. I think there are a lot of hypes, and as you've mentioned, and these are key buzzwords. So, one is speaking to investors that don't really see the metaverse being the future. So I think is really connecting with the right people in this space for raising, as well as within the brands. So one of the key target people that we are targeting are innovation or blockchain officers within brands, but not all of the brands have that in play already.
I understand. Thank you.
So, I mean, I've built a marketplace for e-commerce and fashion, so I know a thing or two. And I know, for example, companies like Zalando and so on, they spend literally hundreds of millions of euros in order to get to where they are. And it's a super, super competitive world. So I think what you should probably be aware of is eventually you're creating a fashion marketplace. It's just a different user interface. And I think you should be aware that in order to do this, you will need hundreds of millions of dollars, literally. So I think there's one thing that means like, okay, a couple of brands will do something with you. There's some tests and so the typical thing. But if you really want to do this big, you have to have somebody behind you who is literally willing to spend the first 20, 30, 50, 100 million euros, because it's going to take a long time to even get close to something like profitability or also traction. Because as Sarah also said, metaverse is super, super early still. Look at Sandbox and so on. I mean, one thing is walking around. So what is the plan how to get there? Because it's a chicken and egg. You're not going to get that money if you don't have traction. You don't get traction, you don't have that money. So what is that thing? Because you might be able to raise 350 or something, but the question is, how do you raise 350 million?
One of the key driver in our metaverse play and to really acquire customers is that we have an influencer shopping destination within our department store. So the influencer shopping destination is having bespoke store development for the influencer to drag and drop products into their store and for them to market to their followers. So that is one of the customer acquisition strategy that we are looking into. Another customer acquisition strategy is that we understand our core target client or consumers are the affluent Chinese, and we have mapped out exactly where they are in terms of which university that they are in, and really acquiring them, really understanding the channels that they use, and the messaging to target them. And I completely understand it would take millions and millions of dollars in acquiring customers, because with my background in gaming, very similar play. So, you know, over the next 3 years, we are looking at influencer partnership as well as organic growth. And by year 3, that's when we really escalate the marketing spend in really getting.
Just one question: are you an affiliate marketplace, or also are you going to sell and ship also, or is it just transfer orders to somewhere else?
I would say we are the heralds of the metaverse with a far-fetched business model, which means that we sell directly to our customers, but we integrate into brand order management system, and then they fulfill the orders to the customers.
So it's a dropship model, what you want to do.
Similar.
Thanks so much for this, everybody. So we will now be wrapping up the pitch segment for Team LUNIQUE, and I'll be having my teammate Yona on to just conclude and tie up the event while we tabulate the judges' scores. So judges, can I please get you now to head back to the score sheet and key in those numbers so we can have our top 2 startups. Thank you. Yona, up to you.
Yeah, thanks, Melissa, and thanks to the startups for the very interesting pitches, and also thanks to our judges for the great Q&A. I think this added even some more value on top. I definitely enjoyed today's startup pitch. So while Melissa is evaluating the judges' results so we can announce the winners, let us also know in the comments who's the winner for you. You have now some time to evaluate this, first of all, to yourself, and then compare it with our results. Also, feel free to check after the event our LinkedIn channel, our Twitter channel. We're very active on all the social medias. Again, to the people that are on YouTube, please leave a thumbs up here if you like the event. Also, subscribe to the channel so you will not miss out future videos or live events. And
thanks very much, Yona. The judges' scores are in, so we can now share the results in a bit. So just first like to thank our judges, and yeah, and I guess Yona, you can share your screen with the slides. So in second place, we have Team Particula. And in first place, or you could say it was the judges' favorite in this edition, is Team ANTOLAC. So congratulations, both your pitches were really smooth. Your idea was great, and I think you impressed the judges the most today. And with all of that, we'd like to thank our judges, our startups, and viewers for spending the past hour with us and for making this event so successful. The event recording will be available on YouTube, and the link will be sent to all participants as well via Eventbrite. So if you would like to attend future editions of this pitch event, you can join us in April. Follow our company on LinkedIn and Twitter, or subscribe to our newsletter to get this marketing push. We also do have a post-event survey that we would like to scan. You can scan and complete to leave feedback, as well as, you know, can add on some things that you'd like to see more of in our future events. And so with not much else here, I'd like to thank everybody for attending this event with us on Zoom, on YouTube, and, you know, just for spending this time with us today. Yeah.